Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville, who, by the way, once Rubio leaves the Senate, Tuberville will be the dumbest person in the Senate, has told Fox Business this week that it is not the job of the Senate to disagree with Donald Trump. They have no business, he says, voting against the people that he has nominated for his cabinet. And of course, this interview took place shortly after Donald Trump announced that Matt Gaetz was his pick for Attorney General. And of course, immediately after that, the Republican reaction was horrible, and it continued to get worse throughout the week. Some Republicans, like Lindsey Graham, immediately came around after initially expressing skepticism, but others seemed to double down, triple down on hell no, screw this guy, it ain't gonna happen. And Tuberville attempted to tamp down on that by telling us that he doesn't understand what the Constitution says, specifically Article 2, Section 2. But here is what Tuberville told Fox Business this week. President Trump and J.D. Vance are going to be running the Senate. First of all, that ain't how it works, dude. You already don't understand your job. You don't understand the Constitution. You shouldn't be in the position you're in. So then he was asked by host Elizabeth McDonald, so will Matt Gaetz get the votes in the Senate? And this is what he said. I don't know. You're finding all the swamp creatures coming out right now. Everybody's got an opinion up here. But at the end of the day, President Trump was elected by an enormous vote, and he deserves a team around him that he wants. It's not us to determine that. Now, here is what Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution says about presidential appointments. He shall have the power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provide 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other offices of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. In other words, Tuberville says, hey, it's not up to the Senate to decide on these people. And the Constitution literally says, it's up to the Senate to decide on these people. So we have a senator from the great state of Alabama that is telling us, I don't know what the Constitution says. Right? Oops. I don't even really live in Alabama. I live in Florida. Yeah. This is the best you could do, Alabama? Now look, Alabama, there's actually a deep blue band that kind of runs, a little bit south of, the middle, but across the state. And that blue band, believe it or not, got bigger in this last election. We have seen Democrats flip red seats in Alabama over the last 2 years. That's remarkable. So hopefully, next time they have an election, have a chance to get rid of Tuberville, they'll do it. Because Alabama truly is a great state. I don't know if anybody watching this has ever spent any time there. There's good people there. It's a beautiful state. They deserve better than a senator that doesn't know what the friggin' Constitution says. Thanks for watching, everybody, and if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We got fresh content every day for you. And if you want to follow us across social media, make sure you check out all of the social links that we have posted in the description of this video.